Well, hey everybody, I'm the Crockett Cooner and this is the Crockett Coonhound Show. And today, guys, I've got a little winter outdoor project for everybody. Now, you guys can see these are my knockout roses. I know it's difficult maybe to tell on the video, but I planted these guys, I'm gonna call it 10 years ago. I have in fact trimmed them about 2 times. I've been putting this off. It is, I believe, January the 3rd today, I think, 2025, here in southern Middle Tennessee. I couldn't have picked a windier day to do this, but I wanted to get out here and make you guys a video because, believe it or not, it's a pretty cool day, and that is when you really want to trim roses because it cuts down on mildews and disease and all types of things. And these roses, guys, the little Japanese beetles, well, they love them. But if you can tell, I'm going to try to trim them back so that the beetles don't show up as much. A lot of folks don't know this nifty little side note about rose bushes. In wine vineyards, many times they're in front of the rows of the grapes. They'll put roses, that way the bugs go to the roses, not to the fruit, so it doesn't cut into their profit. So bugs really love these guys, you know, and I had let them get away from me, guys. They got really big, as you can see here, and I want to show you guys basically 2 different types of trimming methods. Now, I'm going to kind of show you guys what you need. First of all, I've got just a regular pair of garden shears, and I've also got my big loppers, and I'm going to kind of come in here and show you guys a little bit at home what I'm talking about. Now, first thing I'm going to do, got my shears out, got them ready to go. The first method of trimming these guys, and if you notice, I need to add this in, I've got on my gloves. These are some pretty thick gloves. I would suggest wearing them because after all, these are roses and they will in fact poke you. But you can deadhead roses like this. You come back down here, usually I'm going to call it about 1/3 past where they're budding. Right there, you can still see it, and just give it a cut. And you can go all over the plant doing that and just bring them back. But now, like I said, I've kind of got the camera up here a little closer. Guys, when I started off these roses years ago, about 10 years ago, they were about 3 foot tall. I like them to be very big and robust because of the soil type and the acidity in the ground where I'm at this particular area. They grow a beautiful ultraviolet kind of red color when it's, you know, earlier in the spring, or excuse me, late spring, early summer. But what I'm going to do, guys, is a method, not with these, but it's called caning the roses. And it's really a big effort to get them to rejuvenate. Now, I don't know if you can see it back in there, but I have had some boxwood growing there with them. I have also had quite a bit of poke salad. Now, my backyard chickens love that, but I don't, and I've got it all over the property here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera again. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to show you guys the way I'm going to cut these, because you don't really have to be scared with these guys that much, in my opinion, because you can't damage them that bad. But stay tuned, let me get the camera moved. I'm going to show you guys exactly how the old cooner here is going to trim these back. The camera moved, got my loppers out. Now I'm going to show you just right here, for instance, what I'm talking about. You can see this particular cane coming up. Now, it's actually a pretty short one. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach back in here. I'm going to cut her very aggressively, and I'm going to do this all over the plants, all 3 of them. I know it's maybe difficult to see on film, but maybe you can see it a little more. When I had planted these guys, there was actually an old stump here in the yard. At one time, there was some pretty nice landscaping material. But what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to cut these completely back. I'm going to clean them out in the middle and everything, and when I do, hopefully they will start to rejuvenate, because like I said, you have the ability to just deadhead, or in fact really cane your roses back. And that is what I am going to do with these guys and restart this whole process, guys. They had actually gotten to the point that I couldn't even mow around them and things. Instead of blooming, the plant was putting so much energy to the top of it that I wasn't even getting buds anymore. I was just getting greenery and things. So I'm gonna cut these back and I'll be back with you guys. I'm gonna show you kind of what I did. Now, I wanted to apologize, guys, for the sunspot earlier there in the film. I just can't get it out in editing. I apologize for that. But you can see right there in front of me, I have really been trimming these guys back. I've got about 1/4 of the plant done, and a lot of folks will say that you need to trim them back about 6 to 8 inches high. I agree with that, guys, if it's a smaller type of plant. My roses had gotten so big that actually, in my opinion, it's kind of a feeling thing. You want to cut them down, but not so far that you truly damage the plant. I just have tons of experience doing this throughout the years. Okay, guys, so I wanted to get in here and show you. Now, I'm a pretty tall guy, about 6'1", and you noticed earlier in this video exactly how tall my knockout roses had got. But I wanted to show you something. Now, these are just some old cheap loppers. That's how much I've kind of cut them back, guys. I personally don't believe that you have to be scared being this aggressive with knockouts, especially ones that have been established for years and years and years. But guys, I'm going to get them back so I can reform them. You notice we have tons of open spots there on the plants. It might actually take them one season to really get back up there full, but these plants grow pretty well, especially in my soil. But I kind of got the rake here and cleaned up a little bit, and I wanted to touch on something. I'm going to kind of give you guys an example about what else is involved on this as far as cleanup. Here's one thing that nobody ever mentions: the amount of canes and things that come off of roses like this, guys. Now, you can see behind me, I've still got 2 more plants to go, and like I said, I mean, I've got enough canes to come up to my waist, guys. Now, I live out here in a pretty rural area. It's really not a problem. I'm going to get them around back to the old fire pit. For all of you that follow us, you've seen it on the fireside chats. I'm going to let them dry for a day or so. We're going to flame these big boys up. There's a lot of dry ones in there. But if you live in a more urban type of area where you can't just pile things out on the curb, before you even start a project like this, guys, that's one thing that you need to ask yourself: what am I going to do if I'm going to aggressively cane roses that are this big back? Because by the time this gets done, guys, and you take the other 2 there behind me, we are talking a lot of waste product here. And if you don't have somewhere good to dispose of them, the cleanup itself can be quite an issue. You leave them laying out there in the yard, then you have to mow around them and everything until you figure out what you're going to do with them. Now, I definitely wanted to touch on this, guys. I got my leaf blower out, and that is the best way I have found throughout the years, is to continuously keep blowing and reaching down inside the plant after you trim it. If you're like me, you've messed with knockout roses before, you know that these little guys, when they get thick, they will pick up every leaf or dead stick in the yard because of all the thorns. It's hard to get them completely cleaned out in the middle. But if you'll do this little step, I have found that in the end, in the long run, your plants will be healthier and they will look better as everything grows back this spring. Guys, that's it for today. Got the knockout roses trimmed. I just want to say again, for everybody that lives in a very urban type of area, you see what I've got to dispose of, so that's something to keep in mind. But I've got them all trimmed to back up. I cleaned them out. You guys saw it on video, used my leaf blower and things. But that's it for today, guys. Anyways, I might make some videos later on kind of showing you guys the progress of these coming back. So I say it all the time, guys, stay safe on the water, stay safe in the woods, and definitely if you're gonna trim knockout roses, well, stay safe because they'll poke you on the fingers. And stay tuned here at the Crockett Coonhound Show, and myself and Scooter will have a video dropping again shortly for you folks. You guys have a great day.